All right, this is yet another video on this Channel Master tuning capacitor. Now this is the final. Now you say, final, finally? Yeah, it's finally the thing. Now you know Kenny Rogers, the song, you got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. All right, now, uh, this is the pickup right here. Oh, let me check to make sure I'm in the frame. Okay, it's nickel plated. All right, so this first ring rides in one spot, and the second on the inside lip, there's a fold here. So there's two slip rings. So I'm almost done to put it back together. Slide this thing into place. Here, this thing's floating over here, and I go, wait, that's really caked back there. So I get a piece of paper towel and I fold it a few times. I put some alcohol on it. I rub it in between the slot between the two slip rings. And nothing's coming out on it. I'm going, there's all kinds of grease in there. Well, I got my LED light on. I put my eye loop on. I look in there and I see that the nickel plating is worn totally through. That's where the is coming from, and you ain't gonna fix it. All right, other than changing this part here. So this control is garbage at this point. Now, was this worth it? I think so. Maybe somebody will be able to take one of these apart and maybe have spare parts and they can interchange them. But I don't know. At this point, I wasted a lot of time on this. And going into it, I kept saying, just throw it in the garbage. And this control, or this tuning capacitor, was in the garbage. And I said to myself, you know, you got to at least look inside and see if the coating on the plates failed, or the main pickup. I was pretty sure the main pickup had failed. But to think about the last day, saying, oh, I got to make sure I clean that grease that's up in there. And the whole surface of the nickel plating, it could be chrome, it's in a circle. It's really worn. And then I started thinking about the amount of pressure up in here, getting it right before you close it up. There's a disc. There's a copper disc that acts as a spring and pushes down. Here it is here. This pushes down on that assembly to make sure it's got enough pressure. And over a period of time, the nickel plating wears away. And as it wears away, the little debris that is in there acts as sandpaper. And then it causes the control, or the tuning capacitor, to wear even faster. You got to remember, this thing is 1960, 40, 60, 65 years old, this control. So I'll salvage the ferret rod from the radio, because the radio does have an exceptionally long ferret rod. But the radio, it's a Channel Master 6515. It's got that wacko, like Art Deco dial. While it is a super radio, in a sense, or a fringe radio, it's got two problems with it. The dial is very hard to use to DX. The second, well, if you go reading, I bumped into something, and I'm like, why didn't I bump into that sooner? All right, the guy says, if you're looking for a DX radio, the old radios that use germanium transistors, the signal-to-noise ratio on the front end is the noise is much higher than it should be. The noise, the hiss noise, is coming from the two germanium transistors. Yeah, two of them. The front end RF amp and the mixer. Those are actually adding hissing noise. So if you actually disconnected the antenna from the radio, you would still get hiss noise out of it, and that's not good. So you want later model fringe radios that have silicon transistors on them, the signal to noise. So I learned something on that, you know. But I'm going to tell you, the older radios have a bigger loop stick. Not loop stick, ferret rod. Let's call it a ferret rod. It might be called a loop stick. Well, anyway, the ferret rod in the old days, the old radios was much longer. And I told you, they make stuff cheaper every year. And they hope that the customer don't notice. And I gave you a link for the shootout. The one guy took all the different long distance radios, fringe radios, super radios, and he compared them. And Shango's been doing that too. With some of the ones he's been repairing, he has a certain station he finds, and he says this is really working good. Right? But I just want to tell you, the front end of the older radios has germanium transistors, and they produce this on their own. It's just that's just the art of the game. I had a guy one time. Well, the two men. One was the son-in-law. They bought amplifier kits for their stereos. They're going to make stereos, and this was in the 50s. So they bought these things, and they never put them together. So one day, the guy worked in a vacuum cleaner company, and he had a really smart kid working there. So he gave the two kits to the kid. The kid put them together, and they didn't work. And the kid swore up and down he put them together right. So now they got passed to me. So I realized every single capacitor in the amplifiers was dried out. So then I took the parts list into the girl in the parts room at work. I told her what it was for. So this is for home. You don't have to pick these. She picked all the capacitors for me, put them in a bag, dropped them off at my bench, took them home, rebuilt both amplifiers. And when I turned the amplifiers on, they were hissing. And I started troubleshooting. I'm like, wait a minute. How old are these things? I called the guy up and he goes, oh, we bought them in like 1959. And you know, I tell you about these stories about these people. They find me. So anyway, the guy come and took them. The one guy didn't want to even hook his up. The one guy hooked his up. And after it was on like 3 hours, the one channel cut out. And then he found out if you put it in a cold room, it wouldn't cut out. I said, look, I just changed the capacitors. I didn't touch anything else. Brings it back to me. They had these glass tubes that had bimetal switches in there. And if you overloaded the output of the germanium transistors, this little thing would click on and off and let you know you're overdriving the amplifier. Well, one of them was just defective from sitting for whatever, 30 years, whatever it was. So I ended up putting a fuse in there for the guy, and he was happy. He didn't care about the hiss noise. Both of them were tin ears. The one loved opera. He was a tin ear. It's amazing stuff. I think that's it. This is the final. I'm not putting this back together because eventually it'll do it again. And you know what? It's not worth it. And I did the hard work, taking it apart and figuring out how to put it back together, showing you that. And that's where I'm at now. Now, if you take yours apart, the first thing you want to do is see how badly worn this pickup is. Both surfaces, there's two places where it rides on this post. It's called a slip. I think it is a slip ring. Slip ring pickups, all right? But over a period of time, you know, you're talking, what did I say? 65 years? 40 years onto that. And then 20. Yeah, it's 65 years old. Yeah, unbelievable. I think that's it. All right, that's it. Throw